Hey everybody, good morning. It's Q and we're going to do something a little bit different today. You know, usually it's me being interviewed, so I'm not the best interviewer, but I have an amazing person for you guys to meet. One of the things that's been the high point of having two careers where I get to travel the world is I get to meet the most amazing people. And this woman makes my short list. And we met in the most unusual way. I was getting ready to film while I was in Amsterdam, and I went in a day early, and I was walking down the street, and there were a group of people at a little neighborhood pub listening to music, and they called me over, and we met in Amsterdam. Denise is Bahamian, and she is, let me introduce her. Her name is Denise Barnes, and she is part of a family business called the Barnes Group here in Nassau. But when I met her, she was working for Heineken in HR. So Denise has since come into the family business and is expanding it. And she really has an incredible background in HR in all areas. So because I love meeting strong, independent, and successful women, I wanted to introduce her. So this is Denise. You could say hello.
Yes, thank you, and hello Q's fans and friends.
But what I wanted you to do was, I think it's interesting because I think there's been a lot of transition in the last 2 years for everyone. You started your transition before the pandemic. And you know, it takes some courage to do that. It takes some courage to leave a secure occupation.
Yes.
But I'm all for taking chances and following your heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am too
As
now,
we know.
obviously.
And you are too. So what I wanted to ask you is, you know, this is a family business. Your brother's a creative. Your mother started with this. And you all bring a different skill set to everything. And what are you doing right now? You're home in Nassau. You've started this business. It's going really well. And I want to know a little bit more about what you do.
Okay. Well, what we offer is creative marketing and advertising services, and my portion or my contribution is the human resources side. What we find is that there have been successful businesses locally for many years,
Sure.
but of course they're family owned, they're small, they try to wake up one morning and do things. There's no rhyme or reason, policies and procedures. And so what I've done is targeted those groups of people, or actually I think they've been targeting me, where they are asking us to come on in and help them formalize their businesses, whether it's something as simple as writing a job description or getting advice on employee relations matters, or then something larger for process improvement, really breaking down everything that they do and reconstructing it in such a way that it becomes more efficient, that it makes sense in terms of what they're doing as a business.
So really what you're offering is, and it would be almost my size business, kind of a medium-sized business, has employees. We have procedures in place that might not be serving us. They may have served us in the past.
Correct.
And you come in with an outside, experienced perspective to show us how we can move forward. I mean, everybody's got to move into a new era right now. And you have a particular skill set that the business owner just doesn't have and doesn't always know that we need.
Right.
So kind of give me an overview of what if you come into my business, what are you doing?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is have a very real conversation with you, because if the business owner isn't ready to make that shift and move to something else, then they're not going to go very far. Because what I'm pretty much doing is I'm coming in not like a proverbial bull in a china store, but a smaller bull in a china store, because I'm gonna have to break some stuff up. I'm gonna have to show you that things you have been doing for 20 years because your grandmother did it and your mother did it doesn't necessarily make good business sense anymore, and it's not necessarily people focused, right? Because we know that you can have all of the beautiful jewelry that you have, but if you don't have the right people to make it, if you don't have the right people to market it, then you're not going to be as successful as you may have been. Not to mention, the businesses are now facing extreme competition because the way of working and the way that we do business has changed, and so you have to make that paradigm shift for your people in your businesses. And so I come in, ensure first that the one who's making the decisions is really clued in and bought into, or buy in rather, to what it is that I have to offer. And then we really just look at what's the gap analysis, what's working, what's not working, why it isn't working. I also establish whether or not there's some sacred cows in the business, or there's some people and things that I cannot touch. And once we get that started, then we just do a priority list. I know it sounds old school, but you do a SWOT analysis. But then from that SWOT analysis, you then look at what can be fixed within the next 30 days, 60 days.
Tell people what a SWOT analysis is, because a lot of people don't really realize what that means.
Well, the SWOT analysis is really looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? And at the end of the day, the strengths are the strengths, and that's cute. The threats, of course, are things that you have no control over. For example, in the Caribbean, we have hurricanes. We can't control when the hurricane is going to come. But there are two segments of the SWOT analysis that we do have control over. What's a weakness in a business, and where the opportunity is. So we then take those weaknesses and opportunities and put them on a grid that really says, is this high priority or low priority? Is this easy to accomplish, or is it difficult to accomplish? And so we then really break it down to the most granular level, and using the results from that, then I start plotting out with the business owners what it is that we're going to fix.
It can be a little bit intimidating
it can
for a
be.
business owner, but I went through this process with somebody else. Had I only known Denise then, maybe I still need you now.
I'm ready.
But it can be a little intimidating, but I can tell you from experience that going through that process, and you can't see what's going to be on the other side. But when you emerge, it is like weight loss. And there's this huge sense of freedom, because one, you don't have to hide where you're weak anymore.
Correct.
You've addressed it, you've brought it out into the open. Something you're saying reminds me of, we have a saying, you say you have to break things up a bit, and not like a bull in a china shop, but I would call it the velvet hammer.
Yes.
You know, you're
like
coming
that.
in, but you're doing it with kindness. Nobody's bad. Nobody's a poor business operator by design. It's just we don't have the experience. And if there's anything I learned in my business, it's bring someone in who is the expert. I can't know everything. I know what I know very well, but I can't offer what you have to offer. And one of the things that I would ask you is, you know, there are a lot of people who make jewelry. So one of the things people ask me all the time is, what makes yours different? I have a whole answer for that, and it's from the heart, and it's absolutely true. What makes the Barnes Group different or stand out? What do you offer besides yourself, which is pretty strong on its own? What do you offer?
Well, besides the years of combined experience, because people have experience, besides the fact that I've worked in different industries, that's all important. But what it is, it's really the level of experience that I've been exposed to over the years. So I've worked in small companies that have 20 people. I've worked in a large resort that has 8,000 people. I've had the opportunity, which is, and not tooting my own horn, but not very many people locally have had the pleasure of working externally.
Sure.
You know, even
I didn't
when
even think of that.
When I
you've
was,
worked worldwide.
Yes, when I was with one of the local banks, I had the pleasure of working as the HR director for the organization in the Cayman Islands. I spent a week every month in the Cayman Islands. And because I had responsibility for 3 other countries, I now had to move from that mindset of only knowing one set of employment laws to 4 territories of employment laws. So I'm diverse, all right? I know what it is to be the expat because I've lived abroad. I also know what it is to bring in the expat. So I've seen it from both sides of the table. Also, I do have, as I started to say, I have the diversity of working in tourism, in banking, fast-moving consumer goods, and that's on a large level, on a small level. I've been at the head office, I've been at the local office, I've been in places where I didn't even speak the language.
Well, that I remember.
And having to make an impact with and on people without speaking their native tongue. I believe that was an accomplishment. I believe that is what
huge.
the Barnes Group
That's
offers,
huge.
where we can do all of what I said before, but do it in such a personalized way right? That it doesn't intimidate the business.
Yes.
And in fact, we
Yeah, and that's
literally
the big thing.
partner, right? We
You
literally
partner.
partner with the business. We speak their business language and we get it done. And when they succeed, we succeed. So that is to
It's
us
good
the
for everyone.
differentiator.
It's great.
Right.
It's great
That's
for
the
everyone.
differentiator. Yes.
So if I were to sum it up, I mean, what I'm hearing is, you know, you can have a lot of skill. You can have a lot of skill in a certain area, but it could be regional, it could be right in your own neighborhood.
Right.
So not only do you have the depth, you have the breadth.
Correct.
Is that the right word?
Correct.
Breadth? Yeah.
I think it
so.
is. I think it is.
But you have the width, the bandwidth
Mhm.
to really offer across the board, no matter where someone's coming in from. I mean, you know, you can handle expat and foreign companies as well as local.
Correct. That's
All
it.
right.
That's it. Yes.
All right. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Well, thank you.
You know,
and
I don't
mean,
usually interview, so
but I
it's good.
am.
I
Just,
wanted to showcase you.
Look, and I'm just so happy that we met on that street corner in Amsterdam many years ago now. And thank you for just being a part of the family here in the Bahamas.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hope you guys like Denise.
Bye.
Bye.